A few years ago, and then I'm married now, but a few years ago when I was talking to someone who was of South Asian background, and I guess there was an assumption that because we were talking then his family couldn't be racist, right? Because then why would we ever start? But it was a conversation that came up later, like, I don't know if my family would accept you, etc. And so it was interesting to face that head on, what I've heard so many people talk about, but to actually experience it. And I think that one of the main ways I see and view racism within our community is that we'll have Muslim organizations or Muslim events that are supposed to be for all Muslims, but in reality it's for a certain segment of Muslims, or it's for almost everyone except Black Muslims, in that they don't speak about Black issues as if Black issues aren't Muslim issues, or as if Black Muslims shouldn't care about Black issues. It's also being able to speak about Black issues as if they're just as legitimate as Pakistani issues or Syrian issues or anything else. But we'll speak about the Syrian crisis, or we'll speak about marriage issues in the Pakistani community, like you guys have your own issues or that sort of thing with parental involvement and that sort of thing. But you won't talk about, for example, police brutality as if it's also a legitimate issue that we can be concerned about within the larger Muslim community. It's just not seen that way. We're kind of excluded in terms of issues, and I think issues are actually more important. People come to this country, Muslims and non-Muslims alike, for the American dream. And so when Muslims are coming to this country, they're not really coming for their religion. They're coming to get, whatever they can out of this dunya. And I don't mean that in a bad way. So I do think sometimes they forget to connect with the Muslim community that's already here, partly because that just wasn't their priority in coming here in the first place. Sometimes I consciously don't think about it in the sense of not wanting to think about racism, because it really upsets me and saddens me and can just make life feel very negative. So sometimes I do block it out. But I think that being in this country, then it is very racialized. You're either Black, the foundation of this country was Black, white, or Native American. And it kind of remains that way in terms of Black, white, and other. So I don't think I have a choice of being too oblivious to being Black. It's just a part of the reality of being in America. For each of us, with any of these major social issues, we should start with our own selves. And that's why, for me, and I think a lot of some other Black Muslims, when there was a speaker who was speaking negatively about Black Lives Matter and sort of blaming Black people for their own issues, I think it was so upsetting, because we should all ask ourselves what we can do. So if you're white, if you're Pakistani, if you're Arab, and you do care about Black Lives Matter, your job is first to get rid of racism within yourself, and then to try and get rid of it within your family when people tell bad jokes or when people are discriminatory, and then your own community. And then if you have time left after that and you can come over to the Black community and help us as well, then that's great.